So this is a continuation of the last video, so if you haven't seen part 1 where I actually talk about how I organized this project, make sure you check that out. I will leave a link in the description below. Yeah, enjoy. So I really just started with the main hook of fantasy, and I threw that in, and I started to sort of chop it up just to make it a little more interesting. And then threw in a few of these little stabs. Pretty rudimentary stuff. From there, to sort of make this a little more manageable, what I did was I went in here into this main section and I threw on an EQ, and I did a high pass here just to roll off all this low end. And then I duplicated that, and then here I did a low pass, so I rolled off all this high end here, also gave it a little bit of a boost, and then also, as usual, I threw sidechain compression pretty much on everything. So, but yeah, here is our low pass version. So this is really just so I can have a little more control over the sound, and there are sections here where I drop out the low end. And then of course I went ahead and I used a glue compressor just to sort of make all of that work together. So the other thing that you'll notice here is that there's a lot of effects going on, and my approach to the effects here, and this was an idea that I drew mostly from that tutorial that Praxi did.
Many songs of this genre actually use a lot of effects and techniques typically found in DJing.
So the approach to applying effects here is one that is not very subtle, and it's one that you want to keep in mind that the way that you would sprinkle these effects in, or at least the way that I approached these effects, was as if I was, you know, mixing this live. So there's a lot of filters, as you can see here on the main bus for my main part here, and then also on the master channel I've got more filters and tape stops, and then there's also like flangers and all that stuff happening. So yeah, it's just a lot of automating that sort of stuff. A lot of this stuff is happening, you know, at the ends of phrases, just to, you know, give a little spice. All right, but that's not all. So we've also got another layer here, actually 2 more layers. So this is where a lot of the bits from Won't Be Long are sitting. They are mixed in up here, but a lot of it is sort of sitting in this layer. And then even more razzle dazzle happening. We've got another layer here with some more fills. So this sounds really goofy now, but once you throw a drum beat under this and then you really fill out the sound with effects, it really sort of glues everything together. Everything happening here is pretty straightforward. It's what you'd expect. So just EQ, sidechain compression, and yes, I am using Cymatics samples because Steven from Cymatics came to me in a dream and told me that he had a really sick deal for me, and that I had to act fast before the sale ended. The other thing that is happening here that this is really a consequence of Tofu Beat's song that had initially inspired this song. But if you listen to that song, there's sort of this really fun like party, like hey, oh, hey, happening in the background. Drawing from that idea, I threw in some vocal chants, but I wanted, you know, more like, you know, sort of like house party sort of vocal chants, and I couldn't really find anything suitable in my sample library that I liked. So I just recorded my own. This is gonna sound really dumb when I solo it, but this is that's what this video is about, is peeling back the layers and revealing my vulnerabilities. So by itself sounds really dumb, but in the context of the song, it makes a little more sense, I think, hopefully. And then here we've got our vocal a cappella. There's not a whole lot going on here with that. I did run that and, you know, all the vocal chants and stuff like that through a vocal doubler. All right, and then for this last section, the thing here is that I wanted to give that one last oomph of that big party sort of vibe. So, in addition to our chants continuing here, we also have this little thing. If you ever wondered what it would sound like if you walked into a room full of about a dozen me's being really happy to see you, That's what it would sound like. So this is a vocal sample that I recorded. It was the same approach as what I did with the chant. And then in addition to that, to really drive the point home, I did this cheesy little trick that every producer doesn't want you to know about because it makes them groan and roll their eyes really hard. And whenever I use crowd sounds like this, I like to spread them pretty far out in the stereo field. It's really just to sort of fill out that sound. Yeah, hopefully that sort of gave you some ideas, maybe inspired you on how to approach or try this yourself. If you have any questions, I guess just let me know in the comments. If there's anything that I did really, really wrong, maybe don't bother because the comment would be too long and you would hit the character limit, and then that's like a lot of typing and I don't want you to get like carpal tunnel. So yeah, no, if you actually have some stuff to share on ways to make this whole workflow more efficient, or maybe if you have a different approach to doing mashups because you do them a lot more than I do, let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments. If there's anything else you want to see, like how I approach mastering this song or how I do my drums processing, I can talk about that. And yeah.
Please welcome Katsu style.
Tribes that flows in layers. Right now, price is a conveyor. At times, I'm a studio conveyor. To my mayor, you'll be doing us a really big favor. Boy, this track really has a lot of flavor. When it comes to giving trust to your savior, follow us, build a funky behavior.